Hey guys, this is Mark.
This is Michelle.
And this is episode 32 of This is Mark and Michelle.
Yes.
Yes. And
today we're going to talk about genes and detox.
Yes, we are. And I know we talked about genes a little bit in the last episode, but we're going to come from a basic biological perspective of genes and talk about that a little bit and why genes aren't your destiny. Because if they were, I would have stayed autistic.
Yep.
And that I think that's an important point to make, because I hear a lot of people, oh, I have this gene. Oh, I have that gene. My son has this gene. We did 23andMe and it says I've got this whole list of medical issues. Okay, great.
Well, and what Medical Medium says about those gene tests is that they're actually inflammation markers.
Okay. What that means, I don't know, has he explained what that means?
No.
Okay. Well,
they're just showing where the inflammation.
Yeah. Well, without him explaining what that means, let me see if I can give you an idea of what I think he means. And I'm gonna be straightforward. Sometimes I get aggravated at him because while he poo-poos science, he wants to talk concepts that he doesn't define. Now, it may not necessarily be him. It may be the spirit guide that he has that's not doing it. But either way, there's one viewer. Hey,
and
viewer.
It may be that he explains it somewhere. I haven't gotten through the whole book yet.
Well, it's possible, but I'm not making it your responsibility.
Okay. I just wanted to make that clear.
Yeah, but either way, when you talk about an inflammation marker, what is it? I don't know. So all I can say is I think what he means is those tests show you the genes that are causing you the problem or causing you inflammation. I know that's defining the definition with the word, so to speak, or defining the word with the definition, excuse me. But I'm thinking really what he means is, hey, when you get a gene test done, that's showing you the genes that are causing your inflammatory problems or could cause your inflammatory problems. I mean, now that's me going on what I think he means because I haven't heard a definition of it. And as she said, she hasn't come across it yet either.
But what I do think he's trying to say is there's hope for changing whatever you're experiencing in the moment.
Yeah, we're both saying that. Me and her and the medical medium. So we're all three saying that. There is, because people tend to think that, oh, it's in my genes. Okay, I got you. I see why you're saying that, because science says, well, it's a genetic issue. Okay, great. There obviously are some genetic components to autism. I mean, that makes sense to me. But genes cannot be the only cause of autism. I've heard numerous stories about people having normal kids, then going to get vaccines and those kids regressing. Did those kids have genes for autism? Probably. But they obviously didn't have autism, listening to the stories of their parents, and then they go get vaccines, and then they no longer have a normal kid. So in that case, the genes for autism were not those kids' destinies. You see what I mean? So if you can change your condition at all, then it's obviously not hardwired in. That's what I'm saying. It's obviously not your destiny if it will change according to diet, exercise, or anything else. So that I'm just going to poo-poo the whole idea of genes being hardwired. It doesn't make any sense. And if you really want to know, let me tell you what a gene does, okay?
Yes.
This is the molecular and cellular biology professor I had, Dr. Zellers, and the genetics teacher, and then both Dr. Brewers that I had for molecular and cellular biology. This is the basic premise of molecular and cellular biology. A gene expresses a protein. What that expresses means makes. So a gene manufactures a protein. You mess with the gene, you mess with the protein that it manufactures. Science can tell you that, and I remember us talking about that. even the smallest single mutation in a gene will change the resulting protein. And that's all genes make is proteins. They don't make carbohydrates. They don't make fats, electrolytes, none of that. Genes make proteins. That's what they do. That's all they do. So if you can change a gene, you're going to change the resulting protein. Now, enzymes, they're workhorses in a cell. They help reactions go forward. Well, enzymes are collections of proteins. So you may have multiple genes for one enzyme or one gene for one enzyme. I mean, so that's all genes do is make proteins. But then proteins collect together and make other tools, other machines. There you go, not tools, but other machines in the cell. So again, if you mess with the gene, you mess with the result. You just do. And genes can be corrected when they're being replicated by DNA polymerase, or one type of DNA polymerase, which DNA polymerase is an enzyme. So it's a collection of proteins. So again, genes only make proteins. That's all they do. You mess with the gene, you mess with the protein. But as medical media is pointing out, as she's pointing out, as I'm pointing out, if I had all the genes for autism, I should still be autistic if autism was hardwired in my genes, but I'm not. How do I know? Because I don't have any of the symptoms of autism anymore. No stimming. I can interact in just about any social situation with no problem. Communication, awesome. Nonverbal communication, I pick up. Autistic people don't. Implicit communication, I pick up really well. Autistic people don't. So that's how I know. Because now I do the things that autistic people can't do. So anyway, but medical medium, as he's saying, you can run around the gene. Even if you can't necessarily repair the gene, you can at least work around it, like the MTHFR, right? Because we just posted, Michelle posted earlier in the week, Medical Medium's video on, or Facebook Live on the MTHFR gene. Now, I haven't yet watched it, but he's saying that, again, the MTHFR gene is not your destiny. You can go around it. You can eat things. You can detox anyway.
Well, what causes it is the liver is so messed up.
Well,
so it can't work on the genes properly.
Exactly. Well, what's interesting is, and I thought about this earlier in the week, is if the liver is so messed up and is backed up with toxins that it is not releasing, those toxins could easily be mutagens. Mutagens being things that change a gene, that mutate a gene, right? Then your liver could be backed up with all kinds of mutagenic toxins. And you, like Dr. Campbell McBride says, the lady who helped design the GAPS diet, or I should say she solely designed it, she said you were born with the gut that your mother had. I think I have that right.
Right. And medical medium would say you were born with the liver your mother had.
That's exactly where I'm getting to.
Yeah.
Because so since that's the case, you inherit the condition of your liver. You probably inherit the condition of numerous other organs as well. Heavy metal toxicity for one. Who knows what viruses? Yes. Who knows what all else?
Strep.
Yeah, exactly. So you may start out with low quality health, but it can be fixed. I mean, I had low quality health. Oh, hell, I was autistic.
Did too.
And she did too. I mean, fibromyalgia, Lyme disease, which medical medium calls Epstein-Barr. And she was really sick.
Yes.
So before she started working on herself back in 2008, she had so many issues that she was having trouble functioning through a day. She had the discipline just to push through and not give up. And I know a lot of people do, but here's the thing. You can heal. Whatever your genes are, you can eat well enough. Hey, other viewer, and Roxy, hi. And but you can get healthy no matter what your genes are.
No matter which one it is.
Right.
It's basically the liver that's backed up.
And some basic biology on the liver. The liver is your primary detox organ in your body. Some of you know that. Most of you may know that. Some of you may not. But in case you don't, your liver is responsible for, while the kidneys filter blood, the liver takes in the blood and pulls out toxic chemicals and toxic waste and that kind of stuff that you've been exposed to that's floating throughout your body. And so the liver is responsible for getting rid of all that. And it's also responsible for creating waste, such as, the nitrogenous waste that we build up and then that either gets urinated out or defecated out, one of the two. But the liver is responsible for removing toxins and then putting them into waste molecules for us to eliminate. That's what it does. When that thing gets backed up, I guess it would be like your local sewage treatment plant being backed up and then overflowing onto the highway and into the creeks and stuff like this. You're poisoning everything.
Yes.
I mean, you just are. If the liver doesn't work, it's just like your local sewage treatment plant. You're not getting the toxins out of your water or out of your sewage or anything else. So what's happening? It's backing up in you. It's backing up in your local creeks, in your water supply, everything else. Mm-hmm. So anyway, but the medical medium, his new book, Liver Rescue, is all about the liver and how it's damaged from the get-go in a lot of us, from when we're born.
Yep.
For those of you folks who don't understand American slang, but from being born, if you're born with the gut that your mother had, it makes perfect sense you'd be born with the liver that your mother had, with pretty much any other organ, with the toxic heavy metal load that she had and that kind of thing.
And the father.
Well, and the father too. Well, and this is a good example actually, because my dad was a Vietnam era vet, and he just turned 70 a couple weeks before I turned 50. Anyway, I was conceived
before.
Yeah, definitely before he went to Vietnam, and I was born while he was there. Now, when he was in Vietnam, he was exposed to Agent Orange. He got sprayed by it. Now, Agent Orange is an herbicide. So what it does, for those of you folks who don't know, the U.S. government was spraying it all over the jungles of central Vietnam to rid the trees of their leaves so that they can fight the Vietnamese, communist Vietnamese soldiers. Well, the thing is, just a general broadcast spraying of that stuff got all over people. Got all over Vietnamese civilians, Vietnamese soldiers, friendly Vietnamese soldiers, American civilians who were there. And so all of these people, this herbicide is a mutagen. In other words, it changes genes, right? Well, so my dad started to have health problems 20 years or so after he'd been there. And as he's gotten older, he's had worse and worse health problems, a couple different types of cancer, acromegaly, which is rampant growth, human growth hormone, which causes your organs to enlarge. And if it goes untreated, the organs basically implode and you die. But he's had his treated, and of course he'll have to have his treated for the rest of his life. But the whole point of...
He's had heart attack too.
Has he? Oh, yeah. Yeah, and well, he's had heart issues too. But the whole point of me telling you all about this is that the Agent Orange, the herbicide, when you're exposed to it, it is a fat-soluble molecule. What that means is it gets in the fat cells in your body and it stays there. And when it damages your DNA, whatever you pass on in a sperm or an egg gets passed on to that resulting child. So my sister now has inherited all the mutations in his side that were caused by the Agent Orange, and now she has results in health problems because of it.
Right.
So,
and
never mind what my mom had. You know.
Right, and even if it's not being used here anymore, although Roundup is a pretty intense...
Glyphosate is the main chemical in it.
DDT is still used all over the world, so we are not free from that.
No, not exactly. And when we import veggies and fruit probably from other countries, they probably do have some DDT.
That's why you want to get organic.
Organic as much as you can, only because organic is not sprayed with pesticides, insecticides, well, those are the same thing, herbicides, that type of thing. So you do organic as much as you can, but as medical medium says, don't be really hung up on it because you're going to heal anyway. But think about this. If I had autism and she had all her resultant things and all the heavy metal issues that we've had and this kind of stuff, yet we've been on the medical medium diet for about 10.5 months, and yet we're healing anyway.
Right.
The human body must have an amazing ability to repair damage that you wouldn't think it could repair. And yet it does.
It really wants to be alive.
Yes. That is the determination of us wanting to be alive.
Right.
So don't let genes freak you out into thinking that, oh, I can't heal or I won't heal. No, because I did. And I'm sure I have all this or numerous genes for autism. Because, you as you've seen, it runs in families. But then she had all of her health issues. She probably had certain genes for this and that and everything, and yet she's still healing.
Mm-hmm.
So genes are not your destiny. They just aren't. You can heal anyway. So am I missing anything so far? I mean, we've talked about the liver, but our detox journey really didn't start. See, we did most of you know we did the GAPS diet for 4.5 years. And
it made me sicker.
Made her sicker.
It gave him some good results.
Gave me good results. We started the medical medium January of 2018 of this year, and it's actually healing her.
Right. I had anxiety for all of my life, and it's gone now.
Mm-hmm. Right, and giving us better sleep, more emotional awakenings for me, which they had tended to stop on the GAPS diet.
Mm-hmm.
But our detox, and I'm pretty sure medical medium says this, that just eating raw fruit, just eating raw fruit is going to detox you.
Yes.
Right? So just eat some raw fruit. I've been helping people that I work with who come up to me and say, hey, I have such and such a problem, and I think that I could have the heavy metal load. I say, you know what? You can do the heavy metal detox smoothie. If it worked for me, a formerly autistic person, it's got to work for somebody who has never been autistic.
Well, it worked for me, and
it worked for her.
Anxiety and
exactly sleep, emotional issues, all that kind of stuff.
And those things are he has teas for getting radiation out of the body, and
teas. You smell herbal teas.
Herbal teas. And all kinds of things for detoxing all kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Not just heavy metals, but his book Liver Rescue.
But let's talk about the fat aspect, because we were talking about.
Well, that's a good point.
The Agent Orange in the fat cells.
Good segue into the reason being, I said fat soluble molecule earlier. What I mean by that, what that literally means is it's a molecule that can only be dissolved by fat, right? Well, those molecules, like the herbicide Agent Orange, and lead, as an example of a metal, is also fat soluble. But there are numerous other molecules that we come in contact with, toxins that we come in contact with, that are only fat soluble. Well, that means they get in your fat cells and they stay there, and you pass them down. You pass it down in the DNA, however it works. Well, the problem with the liver is a lot of us have sluggish livers or barely functioning ones, either way.
They're sluggish, they're stagnant.
They're stagnant, like a pond, and they're not working happily away at eliminating our toxins. Well, here's the thing. The content of fat that you eat, the amount of fat that you eat every day, has a direct bearing on how toxins are eliminated from your body. The more fat you eat, the liver takes that fat and stores the toxins in it, and then stores the fat on you, right here in your tummy, legs, butt, wherever. And so he suggests eliminating as much fat as possible from your diet until your liver starts to heal. Hey, there's another viewer, and So Michelle has been reading the book assiduously. There's a word you don't hear often. But
well, I haven't this week. I was too busy.
well, true. But she is actually on a diet that's almost entirely fat-free.
Yes, I'll go a day without any fat, and then I might have a little bit of cashew cheese.
Right.
The next day.
Right, and so that.
But I'm definitely eating less than 15% of my daily
caloric intake
of fat.
And so.
And I have lost some fat.
Right, lost some weight.
I actually feel better.
Right.
More better.
And so she's getting to the point. See, because she had Lyme disease, or as medical meaning calls it, EBV, she took 3 years of antibiotics, but she also took, 800 milligram ibuprofen 3 times a day.
Yes.
Right? So all of that toxin is lodged in her liver too. So she is healing, slowly but surely, but it is working.
But I really did have to go practically fat-free for it to work for me. I was having oils and I was gaining weight.
Yes.
And because I think, well, also, if you choose to have no fat before 4 p.m., your liver has a lot longer time to detox.
Yeah, so in other words, don't eat any fat until after 4 p.m. So all that time previous to that, your liver is able to detox without the extra burden of extra fat.
Because once it gets fat, it has to start making bile, which takes it out of the detox mode.
Okay.
That's what he said.
Well, and that is where that is what the liver does. It takes bile to it makes bile to break down lipids and other types of fats, fatty acids, and that type of thing. So yeah, and that makes plenty of scientific sense. So basic biology for that matter. And
so I don't know how long it will be before I am back on a little bit of fat. Like avocado or nuts.
Yeah, whole plant fats. We've heard another doctor say this in the past, but medical medium, I think he says this as well. When you eat oils that are isolated from the foods that they come from, those oils directly get stored as fat.
Yeah, medical medium does not say that.
Okay.
But
that doctor, I can't remember who that was, but a doctor that
not that I've heard him say yet. Anyway.
Right. But it in my experience, it tends to make sense when you eat oils or fats separated from the foods, especially like plant oils or lard or beef tallow, that kind of stuff. It does seem to directly get stored as fat without being of any use other than extra weight on you.
So what medical medium does say is that olive oil and coconut oil are good oils, but you have to keep it under 15% of your
daily caloric
intake.
Right.
And that's hard when you're cooking in oil to make it less than 15%.
Well, here's the thing. You can steam things. You can boil things. You can braise things.
Well, and I have this new water method.
Well, her water technique of sauteing, it's actually brilliant because I had never thought about doing it before. And I mean, I've been to culinary school. I've been a professional cook most of my life. And so I thought
I don't claim it. Intuition did it.
Well, true. But still, the fact that you came up with it and used it. But she is able to make blueberry pancakes with chickpea flour and blueberries. No oil at all. No butter, no olive oil, no vegetable oil, nothing. And she just pours the batter. She puts some water in there and then pours the batter on top.
The skillet has to be really hot.
Yeah, about.
I put it on 7.
Yeah, probably a medium, kind of a medium-high heat.
Yeah.
And but then she puts water in there, pours the batter on top, and lets it cook, and keeps pouring water in there while it cooks, and it browns real nice on one side. She flips it, browns real nice on it, and she's got a perfect-looking little pancake. All with water.
And I'm so excited to be able to have maple syrup.
Yeah, because you eat all kinds of sweets on the medical medium diet.
Yeah.
Not processed sugar type sweets, but fruit and natural sweeteners like honey, that kind of thing. So, and that's really cool because on the Gap Stout, I couldn't eat that stuff at all.
No. So this is a lot more fun for me.
It's a lot more interesting for me because I can drink apple juice.
Yeah.
Because I love apple juice.
Well, and it's just a happier diet. Oh, hi, kitty.
Hey! But anyway, the fat content in your diet is important. Keep it under 15% or as low as you possibly can, and feel it out if you have to. you know. That's what I should have said earlier when you had asked about that when we were eating at the store. But is you can feel it out. You can just pick up a food. Is this too much fat for me? And you'll know because something will tell you yes it is or no it isn't. You know, on the inside.
Yeah.
So
Get to know your inside.
Get
to know the inside guy.
You were definitely going to have to. It's definitely going to have to be an inside job because so many stories you hear of. Well, I took my daughter to the doctor and they weren't listening to anything we said. They didn't take us seriously. You're going to have to start taking yourself seriously.
Yes.
You really are. You're going to have to start going, you know what? I can figure this out because you can. And you're going to have to know that you can find the solutions that you need for you. It takes a little bit of research.
And you have found us. So if you need help, we're here.
Yeah. And so as we ramp up our business more and that kind of stuff, you'll see a little bit more from us about, hey, here's what we can offer you. And as a service, like coaching, counseling, and just answering plain old questions if you need, whatever. You'll see us talk about that more and more. But is there anything else you want to talk about?
No, that's pretty good.
I think that covered it all.
We covered it all.
Well,
so happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving
and
for those
the
folks.
First time this year, our whole family is going to Whole Foods to eat.
Yeah, instead of anybody cooking.
Nobody's
cooking because my mom, she hasn't felt good for us, so she won't be. And my brother-in-law generously said he would do all the cooking. He was joking, of course.
Yeah.
But anyway, he's glad he's not doing the cooking.
We're all doing such different diets. It was just a no-brainer to just go out.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, for those of you folks who celebrate Thanksgiving, happy Thanksgiving to y'all.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And we'll see you next week.
Okay.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.